viewers, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
This is going to be our discussion reaction review of episode 3 of The House of the Dragon, second of his name.
Yes.
It is also Labor Day here in the States, Labor Day morning. We decided last night that it was a Sunday evening to go hang out with friends, so we just watched the episode this morning, and I got thoughts. Shocking. I want to start with a little bit of discussion about the time jumps, because we just watched the breakdown of the episode from the creators,
Right.
and one of the things he said in there was because we're doing time jumps, we're just relying on the audience to pay attention to keep up.
To pay attention to the cues that we give you so that you understand.
I have been like last week. They said, in the 6 months that you've been whatever,
Right, yeah.
and they did in this episode. It's been 2 years. It's the Aegon's second name day,
yeah. So
and stuff. So I appreciate them just trusting the audience to get it instead of giving us 3 minutes of exposition about why we had a time jump or what the time jump was. It was just here it is, and we're moving along.
I mean, that's a Game of Thrones thing, right? There was a lot in Game of Thrones where you were just expected to pay attention. So pay attention.
And I really like that because some people who aren't paying attention are going to complain, and they're missing the whole point of this show.
Right.
Everything means something, and something means everything.
Right. And actually watch the show. Pay attention.
Right. This is one of the few shows that I'm watching on a regular basis, outside of maybe She-Hulk, where I close my computer, I put my phone down, I look at everything. Like even the Rings of Power. I'm enjoying the first 2 episodes of Rings of Power, but I'm playing on my computer and kind of watching along and stuff like that. But this, everything means something, and something means everything.
Right.
So it just, I really appreciate it.
I've just consigned myself that we're going to have to watch it multiple times.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
So the episode starts with the battle on the steps, and kind of playing off of last week's Corlys and Daemon conversation at the end of the episode about them teaming up,
right,
and going after, trying to defend the steps. And I really like that they just start with the dragon blowing people up.
Right. So, like you said, they ended last week with the 2 of them saying we're getting together. The first thing you see is the 2 of them getting together. You still don't really know that time has passed, right? That much time has passed. So.
And it took us how long to get to a point where we actually saw the dragons in action? It was, season 5 or whatever? No, the dragons had been gone within Westeros itself in Game of Thrones. This is the 3rd episode. We've seen the dragons flying, but this was a proper dragons in battle, why the Targaryens are so feared and respected and everything.
Yeah.
I really like that.
It is called House of Dragons, so it would be bad if we didn't see them sooner or later.
But the episode, I want to talk about the 3 of Viserys, Rhaegon, or Rhaena. I don't remember how to say her name.
Rhaenyra.
Jesus Christ. And Daemon's, the 3 of them have this coming to realization that they each get to on their own. Viserys is questioning his decision to pick Rhaenyra as his heir, and they go on the hunt, even now that he has Aegon, and everybody's kind of telling him, we're just expecting you to name Aegon the heir because you have a firstborn son now.
Well, no. He's been in his head, obviously, for the last...
That's fair.
Almost 3 years. They keep saying 2 years. She was pregnant for 9 months too, so it's actually been almost 3 years. He's not been paying attention, which is the whole, him not coming out and stating that Rhaenyra was still the heir, or that she is no longer the heir. One or the other. He should have just picked a side
Right.
and been vocal about it and let everyone know. But he wasn't. He wasn't vocal about it. Everybody. So now your kingdom is all like "Burp, burp, 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 burp," behind your back. He's all, I have a 15-year-old wife
Yeah,
and a baby boy, and and so he has caused all of this.
because he wants to make everyone happy, and he even talks about it later when he's talking to Rhaenyra and telling her that you're going to be my heir, like that whole conversation. But
Right.
in that, he's like, I don't want to make anybody mad, but I keep getting this, like, you have to do this and you have to do this
Yeah.
and this and because of his lack of wanting to do stuff, even Damon going to war with the sea serpents and going against tried to take the steps back and everything against Crabfeeder, he won't even address it in council. Like, he won't even talk about that his brother's at war and he won't go defend him.
Right. Well, and that's again, that's his fault. If he had just taken a stand and gone up. I mean, I guess he took a stand. He took a stand of not helping.
He took a stand of indifference. And indifference is not like,
He's just I don't want to go to war. Well, sucks to be you. Part of your kingdom is under attack.
right,
And
right.
it has been for 3 years.
And it takes Alicent coming to him and saying, isn't it better to defeat the crab person? I don't remember.
Feeder.
Crab person. Isn't it more important to defeat him and keep your kingdom safe than it is not to go to war? Isn't it more important to defend your kingdom?
Yeah.
And I love that it's Alicent who's the one who comes to him.
Yeah.
Now, she kind of got nudged by Otto a little bit,
Right?
To try to, because he's still working the program to get his grandson to be the king. But at least in that scene, it was her saying, "You need to be king."
Yeah.
But because of his reliance on prophecy and dreams and the white stag being found on the hunt, and then him questioning and then getting drunk and questioning every decision he's ever done.
Yeah.
And Rhaenyra is not making it any easier for him because she feels like a pawn in his political game. Like, she's heir, but she doesn't get to be in the council. She doesn't be able to get advice. They keep trying to marry her off.
Right. Again, going back to, if he just make a stand and say, you are my heir, and here is everything that means. But he's just so, I want to slap him.
I do too.
He's just so wishy-washy. He's not ruling. And so now he's causing all these issues. And then he's like, everything's hard. And why don't you like me? And, like to Rhaenyra and stuff, he's like, mad. And it's like, but you caused this.
Yeah. And you caused it, but then when it was addressed to you that you caused it, you yourself deflected. Like, you just like, oh, la, 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 I can't hear you. I'm not listening to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Your Majesty, you did something. You did this. You needed la, 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 la,
Yeah.
So what Paddy Considine is doing in this role is Emmy worthy.
Yeah.
Like, he has to be in the conversation of what he's doing, the pain and sorrow, but yet the joy when he's smiling at Alicent and smiling at Aegon, and just this episode alone, he's been killing it the whole time. But this episode, like, when he's killing the stag, like, he's openly crying killing the stag because it's not the white stag, it's just the brown stag.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a realization for him that he needs to get his shit together.
Yeah.
And stuff. And I hate Otto. I feel for Viserys.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at with this whole thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Rhaenyra. She feels like it's the political pawn. She's getting married off and all this stuff, and she just wants to be herself and make her own decisions. And she can't because the realm expects that she is of age and she's a woman, and they keep telling her, you're a woman, you're never going to have a chance to be what you want to be. You have to do what the realm tells you to be.
Right. Except you're also being told that you're gonna be the queen. So
Right. So you're
which one is it?
Yeah, right. And I love that dichotomy between the 2 points, because in one ear you've got the whole conversation of, I am the heir, I'm the one who's been appointed heir, all the households agreed to it, and then but in the background we all know, and she probably knows just by osmosis, um, but we all know that everyone doesn't want her. No one wants her to be heir,
Right.
except for Sir
Kristen?
Kristen Cole. Yeah, Sir Kristen Cole, who she's just gonna hook up with him. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh, those Dornish boys.
Right? He's cute. But when she finally just addresses her father, like, stop trying to marry me off to the Lannisters.
Ew.
I love his pride has pride line.
Yeah.
I love that line. I want a shirt that says his pride has pride.
It's such a Lannister. Like, it sums it all up.
It's so perfect for a Lannister. But when she leaves the hunting camp, by the way, that's not hunting. That's just camping with a party going on.
Was it a party? Like, that was the most... We're all just trudging around. Like, usually it's all, doo-doo-doo, and everybody's, woohoo, we're having a good time and running around on there. And this was, like, somber.
Yeah, the feast was somber. Now, it's all... Most of the hunt and most of the camp was from Viserys' point of view.
Yeah.
And so he's very somber during that whole time period.
Yeah.
So I get
maybe that's why it feels like, yeah.
But when Rhaenyra, like, I had a fight with my dad, I'm leaving, gets on the horse and goes, and Kristen follows her, and they ride out into the Kingswoods, and they spend the night in the Kingswood. Nothing romantic or anything. At least there's a couple of looks in there where they kind of look at each other, like, maybe because they've spent time together, and he is her personal guard.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But they have the conversation around the campfire. Campfire conversations are where it's at. Like, I love in Star Wars, they do it all the time with these, like, small little scenes that everybody complains about that has huge implications to the mythology of Star Wars around the campfire.
Yeah.
And it happened in Game of Thrones too, with when Arya came across all the Lannisters with the Ed Sheeran episode.
Yeah.
Like, I love that stuff. So her just kind of like, I'm never gonna be a chance to be who I want to be, and Kristen's like, so, like I'm here for you, and I was nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm only something because of you.
Right.
And that means everything to you.
Yeah. How can I be a dragon if I don't have teeth or whatever? And it's like, you brought me from nothing to this, so that looks like teeth to me. So yeah, just kind of maybe stop feeling quite so sorry for yourself. She is 17, still kind of in that drama-y, but
there's some of that, but there's also, like we were talking about with her, she's getting pulled in 2 different directions. She doesn't really know. So she's 17, drama-y as it is, and then you get pulled in multiple directions, and then she's just, the whole time, she's just, I want to ride dragons and serve in the army, and be my, play in the mud and do stuff.
Yeah.
She looks like Dany, but she is Arya.
Yeah.
In the way, and I really like that dichotomy between the 2 of them, because we're not coming at it from the point of view of the books, we're coming at it from the previous show, but having parallels with things that we already know, I really, really like. That makes the show even more enjoyable for us. Now, if you're coming into this blind, you're going to enjoy the show anyways, because of the political intrigue and the dragons
and
stuff like that. Yeah. But a boar attacks him in the middle of the night, and Kristen stabs it when it was attacking Rhaenyra, and then it kept moving, and then she just blood everywhere.
Some stuff.
And then she just strolls back into camp, bloody faced, with a boar. Like, yep, I just did that.
Yep. And her dad had to have the stag held down.
Yeah.
And then he did it badly, and had to do it like one of his guys had to come go, "You need to do this one more time," because the stag is like screaming, and and she just, the little girl
Right.
just, didn't have to have it held down. I mean, now to be fair, Kristen did stab it because it was on top of her,
Right.
but then
Right.
once she kind of had the upper hand, then she took it out. So she's more of a badass than her dad.
Right. Totally. Totally. And then the conversation that she had with Viserys at the end, where he offers aid to Daemon and the Sea Snake at the steps when he finally sends the message to say, "Hey, we're going to send help." And their conversation back and forth, where they kind of had it out for a minute, but there was a moment of acceptance between the two of them,
Mm-hmm.
and Viserys finally telling her, "You have a responsibility. You have a responsibility. You are the heir. You're going to be queen. You need to be able to understand that you're in this position where you have to do this stuff. But pick your own love. Pick your own
Right.
marriage. Pick
Right.
your own thing." Which is exactly what Otto told Alicent to tell Viserys.
Right.
So
Right.
Otto kind of like got his way. So, but it's specifically it was Alicent who told Viserys like she needs to think that she's the one getting to make this decision,
Right.
and then she's going to be more open to it, which is totally the right answer. Like that's the right answer. She will come to the understanding that she has responsibilities as the queen because now she is the realm.
Right.
But if she has the right to pick her own husband outside of any political reasons, then she's going to have her own agency, which is going to make her stronger going forward.
Right.
And I really like that they kind of like went that direction. Now, if they stay on that direction, I think they will. Again, we haven't read the book, so
Yeah, and I mean, I think again, it just goes back to Viserys not like laying, or the two of them not laying out the groundwork or the rules
right,
2.5 years ago,
Right.
or at least 2 years ago when the boy was born. Instead of just assuming everybody knows what's going on in your head, just and then they wouldn't have gone through 2 years of
Right.
people trying to become her.
I love the I've been buried in parchment by marriage proposals.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
that's
'cause
your
you
own damn
haven't-
fault.
yeah.
You're the king.
Dude, if Viserys had half the balls that he had when he was riding Viserion, the
Yeah.
the big
Yeah,
giant dragon,
yeah.
like, if he had half the balls when he was doing that, now
Yeah.
this show wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Daemon, because all three of them have their own coming of age or coming to the realization of where they are in their lives spot. And Daemon's was um, very small on dialogue. With Daemon's point of view is all action.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got him at the steps with the dragon, and the crab feeder kept hiding in the caves. And then at the end of the episode, when the letter from Viserys shows up at the steps, they're kind of explaining what they have left in their army and how they're kind of losing because they're at a choke point and they're getting just crushed.
Yeah.
Even with a dragon, which is tactically a really good spot to fight because you can hide in the caves, stay away from the dragon. You can attack the ships as they go through. It's I like that they kind of have that dialogue as they're coming in, showing the battle going on in the background, and then the command build fight going on the hilltop with all the
Well, and they lay out exactly what ends up happening, right? They talk about what we need to do is draw the crab feeder, whatever he's called, out.
Right.
We need to draw them out of the caves. We need to, and how do we do that? Well, we give them flesh,
right.
and then Daemon gets the letter from Viserys, and he's like, it like lights a fire under him. Like this whole time he's just kind of been maybe going through the motions. I don't know, but then he finally gets the attention of his brother, which is really kind of why he's been doing this, and realizes he doesn't want to win because his brother finally stepped in.
Right. He like Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra.
I don't know why her name is blocking on me this morning. I need more whiskey. That's what it is. He also realized that he needs to have his own agency. He needs to choose his own destiny, essentially. When he gets that letter, he at that point in time, he decides, I need to do my own thing, and them saying we need to put Daemon in front of him on the ground to pull the crab feeder out, is exactly correct. Like they were never going to win this fight without pulling them out, and the only thing that's going to pull them out is Daemon without the dragon, because as soon as the dragon is out, like they're going to be able to just control that whole choke point no matter what, even more than what they are.
Yep. But it was a suicide mission, right? I mean, Daemon's like, I don't want to go. It's a suicide mission. I don't want to do that. But then his brother's like, oh, I'm gonna I'm going to come save you, and he's like,
right,
screw you. I'd
I'll
rather
do it on my own.
Die than to be saved by my big brother.
Now, they didn't. They talked about the creators talked about how Daemon is deciding this is a suicide run. He's just going to go at it no matter what.
Yeah.
And then the cavalry arrives after he kind of gets shot down. He's pinned down and then surrounded and stuff like that. I think that was all part of the plan. You're not getting Corlys and the whole army to come across that narrow gap secretly. You're not just doing that without drawing their attention. And the only way to draw their attention is Daemon without the dragon.
Yeah.
And so I think it was the plan. I don't think it was actually. I think they were going with Corlys's brother's name. I don't remember who it was. That was the one that was like. He was the one. Not. It wasn't his son.
Right.
It was the other one who was
his
like
brother.
And so that whole sequence, Daemon rowing across the gap, putting up the white flag, had like half of his armor on, not his helmet. He offers his sword, and they come out, and then he just goes on a sprint to the caves until he gets shot by arrows, freaking archers. But that whole run is peak Game of Thrones for me, because you are now in a it's all steady cam or shaky cam, like in person, on the ground. Yeah. There's no CGI. It's all practical.
Yeah.
And you are now, as the scene goes along further and further and further as he runs along, it is a building of tension. You are actually concerned about Daemon, especially when he gets hit with the arrows.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if he dies before he gets, to the crab feeder guy, then it was all for nothing.
Yeah.
So it's very.
And then the cavalry arrives, and then Corlys' son, whose name I cannot figure out. Anyways, is on the dragon and is just destroying everything
because he is a true blood, so he can ride the dragon.
They made that point multiple times, so everybody understands he is a true blood.
When the dragon came out, I was like, "Wait, who's riding it?" Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. But when Daemon goes into the cave and comes back with Crab Feeder's torso, guts hanging out and stuff, that is like all bloodied and with arrows still sticking out of him. He comes out, and that is his butterfly moment. It's
crowning moment,
coming out. I am the one who should be heir. I am this badass. I am the one who won this war.
Yep.
And that's just going to lead to more intrigue. So now the Corlys and his whole household and all of them are going to want to back Daemon as the crown.
Right, and it's definitely, even if they don't back him specifically as the crown, it has completely undermined Viserys's power, because he didn't do anything
Yep.
for however 3 years or whatever. And Damon actually finally won the war. So yeah,
Yeah. So I just, and what Matt Smith physically did with that, he's
Right.
very athletic, but his just, I know some of it was a stunt performer, but there's a lot of stuff in there that Matt is actually doing himself. And I said this last week, and I'll continue to say it. His presence as Damon is felt on and off the screen.
well, and he bulked up.
Yeah.
Because, like in Doctor Who and in The Crown, he was very wiry, for lack of a.
Right.
Not that he's not fit, he's just lanky.
Yeah.
And he has, like, there was a couple of scenes where he's in his um, uh,
The breastplate.
his breastplate and his shoulders armor and stuff, and his neck is just like, grr.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Even if that helmet is just plastic, it's still heavy on your head.
Yeah.
But we now have this set up where you have these three individuals who are controlling the plot, and then you have the secondary people who are trying to control the plot. But the three of them are really the the center point of what's going to happen as
Right.
we go forward. Everything's been a setup to get to this point where the three of them are going to go to war, both on the field and in the political
Right.
atmosphere, the
Yep.
political arena and stuff like that.
Yep.
And what that means for Damon and what that means for Rhaenyra, and then you got Aegon now, who's 2. I love the suggestion from Otto that
Renaria.
Rhaenyra wed Aegon,
Right.
which is so Targaryen.
Right.
But I love that suggestion because it would solve all the problems, all the conversation we
Right.
over.
Right.
And Otto puts it out there, and Viserys is like, "What? No," because again, he doesn't want to. He doesn't see anything outside of what tradition is and his
Right.
prophecy and
Right.
his whole conversation with Alicent at the fire. That I've always thought it was this way.
Yeah.
Because I had
Because I had a dream.
yeah. That whole conversation is just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I've really liked what they've done so far in these 3 episodes, and I think that's all the big stuff. I can't think of
Yeah.
anything other than
Yep.
and then the preview for next week. Oh boy, here we go,
Yep.
here we go.
Yep.
And they actually even said in the creator conversation, whatever, the first 3 episodes were just set up to the actual point,
Right.
and where the actual fighting was becoming. And I really appreciate that they had a big battle to end this kind of episode and this kind of story arc.
Yeah.
To remind everybody, hey, it's still Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It's in that, and I'm sorry, I didn't find it overly violent or overly out of place or whatever. Like everybody complained about the first episode with the tournament and the birth.
Have you even watched Game of Thrones?
And I'm not sensitive to that kind of stuff, but I understand that people that are. But I also understand like this is, they have to show the brutality of the war to give it stakes for the individuals that are in the
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
And that's how I see it. And it's not for everybody, and I totally get that. I really appreciated that this was like the capper on the first 3 episodes. Kind of, here we are. Now all the pieces on the board. Everybody's been moved. Now all the real fun starts.
Yep.
That is our thoughts on episode 3 of House of the Dragon. Let us know what you thought of this discussion, reaction, and review in the comments down below. Please be nice. That's a requirement around here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, follow us on all the social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Links are in the description down below. And until next time, cult members, good afternoon, good evening, and good night now.